We're on the way. We are on the way for a regular council meeting. Weyburn City Council held at City Council Chambers at 5 p.m. Monday, the 13th of May. With this one, we'd like to have the approval of the minutes of the regular council meeting and strategic planning priorities meeting held April 23rd, 2019. We would please.
I'll move that, Your Worship.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Are there any additions to the agenda?
No additions from administration, Your Worship.
Members of the council? Seeing none, we move forward. Tonight we have our youth representative here sitting with us, and we welcome him again to the council chambers, and a couple also youth members in the back also. We thank him for attending and being a part of council. We have no public hearings, notices, delegations, and proclamations, no petitions. Reports of standing committees, we have none of those. We have the consent agenda, if we could please.
Your Worship, I'd like to move that the cash activities report for March 2019 be accepted as presented.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Discussion? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Motions. Accounts payable. If you would, please.
Your Worship, I'd like to make two motions this evening. I'd like to make the motion that the purchases dated April 16, 2019, where pecuniary interests have been disclosed, be passed for payment. The purchases include accounts payable for $281.90. And also, I'd like to make the motion that the purchases in the amount of $1,835,070.18 from April 19th, 2019 to May 9th, 2019 be passed for payment. The purchases include quick pays totaling $173,777.20, accounts payable totaling $1,181,286.50, direct withdrawals totaling $476,367.04, and debit card transactions totaling $3,357.54.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
The pecuniary, for both of them, both motions?
Yes.
And the pecuniary interest, Mr. Chessel has excused himself as a conflict of interest. Call the question. Any discussion on these motions? Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We now have, the next motion we have is Girl Guides. If you would, please. If the, we have here, we have a motion, and before we start into it, explaining this, can we have the motion, please, on there? And then we'll have the discussion, and they'll present it. Pardon me?
We'll have them present first, Your Worship.
Okay.
We'll do the motion.
All right. Go ahead. If you would, present, please.
Okay, my name is Abby Cradaville, and I am the outgoing District Commissioner for the Girl Guides of Canada Rainbow District. Girl Guides of Canada recognizes and values the richness of human diversity in its many forms, and therefore strives to ensure environments where girls and women from all walks of life, identities, and lived experiences feel a sense of belonging and can participate fully. This commitment to inclusion means Girl Guides of Canada's culture, programming, and practices encourage self-awareness and awareness of others, room for difference, and environments where girls and women feel safe, respected, supported, and inspired to reach their potential. We have designated representatives from the Weyburn Pathfinder and Girl Guide units here today to explain our proposal.
Go ahead.
Hello, Weyburn City Council. My name is Maura Titlinsvik. We are Weyburn Pathfinders and Girl Guides and are part of Rainbow District. The Weyburn Girl Guide and Pathfinder units have been working for months on a community service project to improve the streets of Weyburn. As part of Girl Guides of Canada's mandate, it is the belief that we explore the diversity within our community. This year, we hope to make a difference in the lives of others and the downtown area, and therefore are asking the city for permission to paint the 4 crosswalks on the corner of 3rd Street and Cotto Avenue in rainbow colors. With your permission, we will make the crosswalks bright and safe for all residents.
If you'll just pull the mic down for her, please.
My name is Kaden Van Alstein. We would really like to do this because we want all diverse groups to feel safe and welcome. In Girl Guides, we learn how important it is to care for others and ourselves. We want to create a safe walking space that also represents a welcoming space for everyone, no matter their way of life. We are all different in our own way, and by working with the City of Weyburn, we are able to show this in a ground way. During our last few months, we have been interacting with Youth Council, who have graciously helped us bring forth this proposal. We have written and mailed letters of intent looking for support from the businesses on the corners. This includes Weyburn Credit Union, Grace United Church, and Greaves Holdings, who are the owners of the old City Hall building, and we are hoping for positive feedback.
My name is Jillian Forsyth. In 2016, Weyburn celebrated its first ever Pride Week. Rather than celebrating gender and sexual diversity for just 1 week, we would like to show our support all year long by painting the crosswalks rainbow. We would supply the paint and ensure that it is approved by Claude Morin. We also commit to maintaining the crosswalks every year as part of our community cleanup program. In the spirit of inclusivity, we as a district want to complete this service project that shows our support to the LGBTQ2 community and also represents our local Rainbow District Girl Guides. Thank you for your consideration from everyone in Rainbow District Girl Guides.
And just to show, if you could just bring, I see there's a couple pictures in the back. The one, just bring these pictures forward so the camera can point to them. And this is just kind of a suggestion as to what they're like.
I mean, bring the girls right around the front here, like easy.
Yeah. And you are who? Laura. And so Laura, show us a picture. No, show the camera that for the people at home as to what yours are. So, very good. And you are? Abigail. So let's see your give one of the other pictures away. Okay, bring them forward. Go ahead. And show the 2 pictures there. Very good. And then the last one, you are? Okay, Victoria, if you could show there pictures of your suggestions. Very good. Thank you, ladies.
And the girls have like 2 kind of pictures there that show kind of what we're hoping
Okay.
that they would look
So-
like. So if you want to see,
Yeah, see.
what other cities have done, I think one's
So-
Portland or Kelowna.
And then show the other picture. No, there, you've got one picture, and then move the other one. Oh, sorry. Okay. I thought there was 2 behind, one behind each other. Okay. Then the Abby, where were those cities at?
One of these was Kelowna, and one is, was there somewhere in Vermont?
Okay.
They've done them like across Canada. Girl Guides actually did one in BC, and they had previously had them done, and I think Girl Guides came and kind of fixed them up and redid them. In Regina, there's a school that has just colors on their sidewalk, and so they do have experience with that colored paint there and kind of the wear of it. But kind of they've popped up all across North America and probably all over the world, so.
Okay.
Yeah, but one of these I think was from Kelowna,
So, okay.
something like that, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
We'll
That's the question.
well, let's put with motion first, and then we can ask questions and have a discussion, so we get a recorded discussion. Go ahead.
Thanks, Your Worship. We'll get a motion to get this thing rolling. I'd like to move that the painting of the crosswalk at 3rd Street and Cotto Avenue be accepted as presented by the Weyburn Girl Guides on a 1-year trial basis.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Discussion. Mr. Mickle now.
Your Worship. Abby, thanks very much for coming this evening. Maybe you want to
Yeah, if you don't mind. One of the young girls mentioned that you sent out letters of intent to local businesses.
Yes.
And you're hoping for positive feedback. Can you maybe just give us some information on that?
Yeah, we did send out letters. I believe that we, from City of Weyburn, have approval and, I guess, a letter of support, as well as the Weyburn Credit Union. I didn't hear back from Grace United Church, and either the Greaves Holding, as far as their support. Our leader that had sent the letters originally moved, and so any correspondence that might have went to her, she's left. So that was kind of tricky, but we do have 2 out of the 4 for support. We also have a really good relationship with Grace United Church. All of our meetings are held there, and have a long-standing tradition of a good working relationship, and I don't foresee them having any problem with their crosswalk in front being like that.
One more question, Abby. You're given a year trial basis with this motion?
Yep.
Was it your intent to continue to do this year after year?
Yeah, we would love that. Every year we do a cleanup campaign, usually in May. A few of our members were at the mayor's cleanup this past weekend.
And
yes.
good workers.
Yes, and so we would probably transition something, we would do our cleanup and maybe do painting of the sidewalks that same day, or kind of work it in as that a yearly thing. Now, I do believe that the crosswalks are painted twice a year now, and so we could look at doing it twice a year to correlate with that. If they're going to be cleaned and ready, we can do the same thing.
Thanks, Abby.
Yeah.
And there was Mr. Van Betju.
Yes, thank you, girls, for coming, and thank you, Abby. And first question is it just a coincidence that you're the Rainbow District and you're putting the rainbow colors down?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was pretty interesting. But anyways, I will support this motion. I think it's a great idea. I think it'll pose questions in the community when they see this, and it'll make us all more aware of what a diverse world we live in now. And I think a lot of us aren't aware how diverse the community is, and I think this will bring that conversation to light.
Yeah, well, thank you. No, I think it definitely gives that impression that Weyburn is an inclusive community, and we do support all walks of life, and that's just a nice, bright, colorful way to show our support of everyone. So,
any comments from the Youth Council? Just turn on your mic.
Yeah, we had a few members of the Youth Council actually go to a Girl Guides meeting and get all of that information. And then it was also brought up in our meeting on April 11th, and we discussed that and voted towards passing this one-year agreement.
And it's very good to see that we've got the youth involved in this, and it was good to see that that's one of the things that we wanted to show, that how the Youth Council works. Congratulations to the leaders of it. Congratulations, first and foremost, though, to the youth that are on the council that are working towards this. If you would, please.
Thanks, Your Worship. A couple of things. Thank you guys, too. You've been here a few times now, and you girls are doing an awesome job. You're going to be pros, and we're all looking out for our jobs because you guys got a great future in doing this kind of stuff. You're doing a great job. I'd like to kind of throw a kudos out. We're going to be talking about the Youth Council a bit tonight. I'd like to throw some kudos their way because they put a lot of work into this as well, and they worked with the Girl Guides at great depth to get this project and bring a recommendation back to council. So I think this is a good example of how the community can work together at all ages, and it's very cool. So I really don't have a question. More so, I just want folks to know how well this went, and I think it's, I'm going to support the motion as well. So I think it's very exciting.
There's no other comments? Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Very good. And
thank you
now
so
I guess
much.
the next question is, I know that there's, because we are going to have Pride Day on the 8th of June. I know that's very pressing, but we can at least announce. I would appreciate if you would be there at that day to announce, bring some of the pictures, and show what you're going to be there
we would
on
love
that
that.
day.
Yep, that would be great.
And you can talk to City Council as to what time everything is going to, talk to Paige over here as to what time everything kicks off and how the festivities are, but I would most certainly love to have you guys include this and bring your pictures and show what it's going to look like there.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very good. Next one is the Board and committee appointments. Parks Board.
Yes, Your Worship. So we have a request from the Parks Board to have one new member added to the board, which is Jeff Hayward. Currently, there is 7 members on that board, 2 of which are council members and 5 of which are members at large. So adding Jeff to the board will give you 4 members at large, and you're still looking for 1 more member. So we're just looking for approval to have Jeff added to the Parks Board.
And you require 1 more member afterwards.
1 more member after that, yes.
Okay.
Your Worship, I'll make a motion that Jeff Hayward be appointed to the Parks Board Committee for the remainder of 2019.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Discussion?
Only that there will then be 3 Jeffs on the Parks Board, and I expect that's going to get rather confusing, so.
Well, we were looking
might have to address that.
for a 4th, Jeff.
Okay.
If we could get another.
We can always assign nicknames.
That's true.
So, call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Introduction of bylaws. The mill rates for taxation, 2019, 3398. If you would, please. Laura.
Yeah, so this is the next 2 items there, the bylaws for our taxation mill rates to be set. These are based on the budget increase and what we've budgeted for the year. The budget was set back in January, and it was at a 3.81%, so these rates have been calculated out to reflect that, and the base tax will increase by $25 to $625. We expect notices to go out by the end of May.
First reading, please.
Thanks, Your Worship. I'll motion that bylaw 2019-3398, a bylaw to fix rates for taxation for the city of Weyburn for 2019 be read a first time.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Discussion? Yeah. Yes.
Thanks, Your Worship. A question for the city manager. We oftentimes do this when we're doing bylaws. We do 3 readings in one night. And I just was wondering if you could provide some clarity for us on why sometimes we do all 3, why first we do 3 readings, secondly, why we do them sometimes all in one meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Richards. So what happens is within the procedures bylaw, council is allowed to do 3 readings. So under section 25, points 14 and 15, I'll go through both those points, I'll explain those processes. So under number 14, a bylaw shall not be given more than 2 readings at one meeting, except by unanimous consent of the members present at the meeting. So that you guys need unanimous consent to get that 3rd reading if you'd like to do that. If unanimous consent for the bylaw to go to 3rd reading is not obtained, the bylaw will be brought forward to the next meeting or a follow-up meeting, at which time an affirmative vote of a majority of council is required to pass that bylaw. So at some times, it's council's discretion what you guys want to do for that based on those 2 options within your procedures bylaw. So a good example is we're going on tonight with a mill rate based on a timeline of when to get it out to the public. A request from administration would be for 3 reads. If there's something that you guys are discussing and you want more information, if you pass it like you did tonight with the 1st reading, you can do a 2nd reading and ask for the 3rd one to be held off into another meeting. You have all the right to do that as council. So if you're going through something and you want more information, you can always push that way, if required.
Thanks for that.
Mr. Van Betcher.
Thank you. So in this case, Matthew, we've already passed the budget with our set percentage, and we've already discussed that, and the public's been aware of it for a month or better. So to my thinking, there is no reason really not to have 3 readings tonight.
Yes, that's correct. So, and the other thing is because it's provincially put down for education, stuff like that as well, so.
That being said, we have a seconder. We had a seconder on that. Winston. So with that, discussion is over. Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Go ahead.
Thanks, Your Worship. I make a motion that bylaw 2019-3398, a bylaw to fix rates for taxation for the city of Weyburn for 2019 be read a 2nd time.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Discussion? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. 3rd and final reading.
Thanks, Your Worship. I'll make a motion that bylaw 2019-3398, a bylaw to fix rates for taxation for the City of Weyburn for 2019, be given 3 readings at this meeting.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Okay.
Thanks, Your Worship. That bylaw 2019-3398, a bylaw to fix rates for taxation for the City of Weyburn, be 2019, be read a 3rd time.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. So, and that item B, Laura, is that was taken care of there too, or do we have another reading? That's all taken. Okay.
No, you have to do another.
No, I have to do another one because that's for your base tax.
It's for the base tax.
Go ahead.
Your Worship, I'd like to make a motion that bylaw 2019-3399, a bylaw to establish mill rate factors for classes, subclasses of land and improvements, and to provide for base tax of the City of Weyburn for 2019 be read a first time.
Motion, Your Worship, I'd like to second that motion.
Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Next.
Your Worship, I'd like to make a motion that bylaw 2019-3399, a bylaw to establish mill rate factors for classes, subclasses of land and improvements, and to provide for base tax of the City of Weyburn for 2019 be read a second time.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously.
Your Worship, I'd like to make a motion that bylaw 2019-3399, a bylaw to establish mill rate factors for classes, subclasses of land and improvements, and to provide for base tax of the City of Weyburn for 2019 be read 3 times at this meeting.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously.
I'd like to make a motion, Your Worship, that bylaw 2019-3399, a bylaw to establish mill rate factors for classes, subclasses of land and improvements, and to provide for base tax of the City of Weyburn for 2019 be read a 3rd time.
I'd second that motion, Your Worship.
Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Refuge bylaw. This is, go ahead for the report, if you would, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is a good example of something that got brought back after our first reading, so thank you for that question tonight. Refuge bylaw number 2018-3391 was presented on November 26, 2018 to Council. Some of the items that were included in that report include additional definitions on industrial waste, prohibiting industrial waste from garbage receptacles and dumping into the landfill, prohibiting asbestos in the landfill, and updating the recycling under charges and fees as well in Section A. So on that date, on November 26th, first reading did occur with a recommendation to receive information on the viability of accepting friable asbestos and storing it in the city landfill. So at that time, our city engineering department performed a review of other municipalities and provide the following information back to council. So the city of Regina charges $350 a load plus $85 a ton for asbestos as a surcharge. Within Saskatoon, it's $350 a ton. A burial fee of 14 yards or $105, and then more than 14 yards is $210. City of Yorkton was $105 a yard. City of Swift Current had unspecified disposal rate a ton, plus $300 a load. City of Prince Albert had $250 plus a burial fee of less than 14 is $85 and more is $210. City of Moose Jaw was $339 a load and $40 a ton. City of North Battleford was $600 a ton, and City of Lloydminster was $100 a ton. So the recommendation from our engineering department would be that they would like to accept asbestos into our Weyburn landfill. The wording within the bylaw would be as follows. City of Weyburn requires a special waste disposal permit to accompany all types of special waste, including asbestos, potential contaminated soil, animal carcasses, and other materials deemed as such. City of Weyburn reserves the right to limit or refuse the acceptance of any special waste. The special waste disposal procedure and regulation shall be set out in Schedule C. So what they're recommending as a rate effective of, currently, they would like to have a flat fee per load of $410 plus a fee per ton of $110. Effective January 1st, 2020 would be the same rates, the $410 and the $110. January 1st of 2022 would be the $410 and the $120 for the additional tonnage for that. When he talks about the special waste disposable information, so there's a different way they want to accept this waste into the landfill and a procedure they have to follow through. So there would be an application form that must be filled out. Approval or rejection of the applications will be given within 2 days, business days, and that'd be from our engineering department. Once the application has been approved, the customer must contact the landfill in order to schedule a delivery of the asbestos. Notice must be given at least 48 hours notice prior to delivery. They must provide 2 copies of the approval permit to the hauler. The hauler will retain 1 copy for their records, and the other will be provided to the scale attendant at the landfill. Both copies must be signed by the driver. And the last thing is the driver must have a signed valid copy of the approved special waste disposable permit with them when disposing of special waste at the landfill. Any questions from council?
Mr. Bailey?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I think the secret to this proposal, this bylaw, is that we have the right yet to control what comes in. And I think that's very important. Councillor Mickle can talk about this too, but we discussed this very thoroughly. Should we or shouldn't we? And it came that we have the capacity for it under a very controlled situation. And that's what we wanted to dwell on, was not to have it so that everything can come here from Saskatoon or Regina, or where we have control of saying, yes, we're good under these conditions, or sorry, no, and we can reject it. And I think that's very crucial to our landfill and very crucial to this specialty that we actually do need in the city to have an area for this.
Mr. Mickle.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you, Councillor Bailey, for explaining that. And thank you, Manager Warren, for the in-depth, what you just gave us is great information. Everything is in there, and I thank you for your presentation. I make a motion, this is the second reading, that bylaw number 2018-3391, being the refuge bylaw for the city of Weyburn, be read the second time.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
And there's a point on discussion here following the second reading, as it is load by load, because one of the things I guess we're focusing on asbestos, but it was also brought up there to say animal parts. We just don't want to have abattoirs start dumping all their stuff into us, that we can say, no, we're not going to do it. When they say animal carcasses, that does not mean we're going to start accepting every carcass that is from abattoir, right?
Yes, that's what the report states within the bylaw.
Right.
Correct.
So that, because again, I don't need to see all of a sudden like thousands of carcasses coming into.
Yes, Your Worship, that's why we have put in place now application form and a process for the application form. So people just can't go onto the site, they have to follow that process.
And that application form, I'm saying, isn't like a year-long thing. It's per load.
Yep.
So, okay.
Just with Donette not being here, we have to get you, I think, to read the motion again, because right after, you should just put that it's been amended, so the second reading for a second time as amended, so that we make sure that everything that was put in is so.
Redo the motion, Peg?
Yeah,
I
please.
certainly will. I move that the bylaw number 2018-3391, being the refuge bylaw for the city of Weyburn, be read the second time. As amended. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Gotcha.
I will second that, Your Worship. As amended.
Discussion?
I think another matter that the city engineer brought up that the public should be made aware of is now that we are accepting asbestos, you know, as we see fit, that anybody bringing asbestos to the landfill, and if they don't let the operators know that there is asbestos, that they are liable for that material. Whoever brings in material, and if it has asbestos in there, and they don't make the attendant aware of that and get a permit, then they are liable for the release of that asbestos if it goes into the air and everything else, so.
Yeah, and another point into that, Councillor Van Betchie, was about mixed loads as well. So we fall into the thing where people do not know that. They have to make sure they separate asbestos away from all other material. And if it does get mixed into anything, it's considered as asbestos when they put that through.
And are there fines for bringing in and not reporting?
So for us, we're regulated by the government on what we do for our landfill. So there is fines through the government if they do find that we do have asbestos on that is not marked properly or buried properly. So we have to make sure we follow those processes that way.
No, but I mean fines to the people for bringing it in and not reporting to us?
Well, for us, we will not let them bring it in unless they do all the proper protocol for that.
No, but I mean, if they do, try to sneak it in?
Regarding fines, I'm not sure if this includes fines within there, but that's something we can revise as we go through if we have to that way. But right now, there's no fines that way.
Should we be looking at fines if they're trying to do it in, or do you want to do this later?
I would recommend not. I think right now we have to get people to know the process of doing this. Right now we have to have people going through the right permitting process. We're not charging people other fines for other things right now within the landfill. I think we have to really focus on educating the public on the permitting process and the process to go through and do that.
Mr. Van Bitchu?
Yeah, I would think, and I think Nader had mentioned that that person that brings that in, if it's discovered that there's asbestos in a mixed load, they would be liable for the cleanup. So that in itself would be a huge ticket, so.
Okay. So, I know. So, call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously.
Okay, I make a motion that bylaw number 2018-3391, being the refuge bylaw for the city of Weyburn, be read for the third time as amended.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Good. There is no unfinished business, no new business. Inquiries and announcements. In here, we have a proclamation, which I have. Okay. I'll read the better one. So there was a proclamation signed a few days ago. It's a proclamation on Naturopathic Medicine Week. Whereas May 13th to the 19th, 2019 is marked as Naturopathic Medicine Week across Saskatchewan in Canada. Whereas naturopathic medicine is a form of primary care medicine that blends centuries-old non-toxic therapies with current advances in the study of health and human systems, covering all aspects of family health from prenatal to geriatric care. There you go, Dick. Anyway, whereas naturopathic medicine concentrates on whole patient wellness. The medicine is tailored to the patient and emphasizes prevention and self-care and factors in the physical, social, environmental, emotional, and spiritual factors. And whereas more residents of Saskatchewan are seeking science-based, valid, complementary health care, and whereas the mission of Saskatchewan Association of Naturopathic Practitioners is to provide people with the health benefits of regulated, highly qualified, leading-edge naturopathic medicine in Saskatchewan. Therefore, I, Marcel Roy, Mayor, City of Weyburn, SAS, do hereby proclaim the week of May 13th to the 19th, 2019 as Naturopathic Medicine Week. In the City of Weyburn, urging all citizens in our community to cooperate with and participate in activities sponsored by this group. And so signed. Comments? Any other announcements? Mr. Bennett.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Just wanted to say hats off to the Agricultural Society for hosting the high school rodeo this weekend. We had a problem on Friday night, which was a good problem. We ran out of parking spots for all the campers, so it was so well attended by the athletes to come and participate here. They host it every year, one of the rodeo stops for the high school rodeo. So that was a great problem to have, and they worked through it. But hats off to the many volunteers that made that go on this weekend to be a tremendous success.
Mr. Richards.
Thanks, Your Worship. Couple things. First off, I'd like to thank Paige Tenbolt for stepping in here in the absence of Danette Richter, our city clerk. She's taken this on with a smile, and I appreciate that. But to segue, Paige has also been helping us out with the Youth Council, which is, I believe, is a tremendous initiative, and I think you folks are doing a great job. Tonight, Lincoln, Megan, and Maya are all here, and Landon and Ethan couldn't be here. But the Youth Council has put together an open house for this coming Thursday as part of their regular Youth Council meeting. It'll be Thursday at 4 o'clock here in Council Chambers. They're asking or saying, inviting, if folks would like to come out and be part of it, see what Youth Council's working on and some of the things on their agenda and some of the things they've got coming up. That's part of it. Secondly, they're also seeking nominations for next year's Youth Council. So some discussion around that will happen as well. So I would encourage folks, if you've got some time to spare, Thursday from 4 to 6, that you come. Yeah, Councilor Chester, you're just out of the running. But I would encourage folks to come out for that, and we talked a lot about Youth Council tonight. They're doing a bang-up job. Their discussion was very robust and very real around all of the things that they've been talking about. So it isn't just a sandwich in a month club. It is real work that they're doing, so I appreciate that. Thanks, Your Worship.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, Lincoln? Yeah. Okay. Ladies, nothing? Okay. Mr. Warren.
I just have one update in regards to Government Road. So as administration, we made a decision to hold off on the paving, milling and paving of Government Road. We wanted to ensure that everything was ready and no issues were in place prior to the oil show coming into town. We also are very cognizant of things coming up as well, including the fair in July. So right now we're working with our paving company to have the work done later on the construction season. And we do not want to have anything that's in the way of any events coming through, including, like I said, the oil show or the fair. So we've had talks with our paving company, and in the near future we'll have a time frame for that project to be completed.
It becomes very difficult because we have the oil show coming June 4th, 5th, and 6th. 4th is the golf tournament, 5th and 6th. Rex Murphy's going to be here. Vivian Krause will be here. Very important. We then go into the fair on July.
Well, it starts on the June 29th, I think. Some of the activities are already, yes.
And
so
ends
for 6 days.
Ends on the 6th of July.
In July. And then we move into both a Hereford show and then a week later a Charolais show. So there's a lot of activity, and it gets to be very difficult to be on our main street. And we just ask the people, City of Weyburn, yes, we capped it. Yes, it was settled, and it is a little rougher. So just be patient. It will get done this year before winter comes. So we are set to go. Bear with us, whereas we have got lots of projects on the go, and we can continue working on a lot of the repaving this year. Any other comments? If there are no other comments, then that is the end of the meeting here for tonight, and I call this meeting adjourned.